everybody! I hope you're all having a nice day. Today we will be talking about an amazing book, namely The 48 Laws of Power by Robert Greene. This video is a combination of a book review and a kind of a summary. As the name suggests, there are 48 laws overall, and in this part of the video we'll be talking about 24 of them, since the video would merely be too long if I talked about all of the 48 laws. So, without further ado, let's get started with this video. I hope you guys enjoy this video, since it is a topic brand new to Hanor's Official. Let's get started. Let's talk about the contents of the book review. First, we'll be talking about the book info. What is this legendary book about? The blurb. Since the blurb can actually tell us a lot about the author and the book itself. The actual, 24 laws. And then, thank you for watching. So, let's talk about the book info first. The author of this book is Robert Greene. This amazing book was written by Robert Greene, an American author, who has written other books such as Mastery, The Daily Laws, The Laws of Human Nature, and The 33 Strategies of War. There are also brilliant books, as their names suggest. Consequently, in his controversial book, The 48 Laws of Power, he argues that if you manage to win, charm, and deceive your opponents, you will attain the ultimate power. Greene states that the better you become at handing power, the better friend, lover, and person you will become. He uses many historically proven situations to support his opinions. The 48 laws that Greene talks about will and have left the readers amazed and profound with immense knowledge. The 48 Laws of Power also talks about why it is indeed important to contain power and how you will find this helpful. The book has only 705 pages, which is nothing. Now we'll be talking about the blurb. I've actually somehow collected the actual blurb from the actual book, and I will now read it to you guys. How to get to the top and stay there. The 48 timeless and definitive laws of power. Law 1. Never outshine the master. Law 2. Never put too much trust in friends. Learn how to use enemies. Law 3. Conceal your intentions. Law 4. Always say less than necessary. This book teaches you how to fight, cheat, feign, dissemble, and advance your cause in the modern world. By The Independent on Sunday. Wonderfully researched by Daily Telegraph. At last, the book to help you scheme your way into the upper echelons of power. Daily Express. Masterclass for Machiavelli by Robert Harris, Sunday Times. As you can see, these are some opinions about the book by actual people. Do you notice anything special? Perhaps anything different from other books? Let me know down below. Now, the actual laws. Let me summarize the actual laws themselves. Law 1. Never outshine your master. Ensure that those above you always feel superior. Get out of your way to make your bosses look better and feel smarter than anyone else. Everyone is insecure, but an insecure boss can retaliate more strongly than others can. Greene even says that you should make sure that those above you always feel superior. In your desire to please and impress them, do not go too far in displaying your talent, or you might accomplish the opposite. Inspire fear and insecurity. Make your masters appear more brilliant than they are, and you will attain the heights of power. He uses a brilliant example which will help the reader further understand the dangers of showing off your accomplishments. Law 2. Never put too much trust in friends. Learn how to use your enemies. Keep a close eye on your friends. They get envious and will undermine you. If you do co-opt an enemy, he'll be more loyal than a friend because he'll try harder to prove himself worthy of your trust. He has also very famously said, "Be very friends, they will betray you more quickly, for they are easily aroused to envy. They also become spoiled and tyrannical. But hire a former enemy and he will treat you more loyal than a friend, because he has more to prove. In fact, you will have more to fear from friends than from enemies. If you have no enemies, find a way to make them. ASAP. Law 3. Conceal your true intentions. Always hide your true intentions. Create a smoke screen if you have to. If you keep people off balance and in the dark, they can't encounter your efforts. Again, keep people off balance and in the dark by never revealing the purpose behind your actions. If they have no clue what you're up to, they cannot prepare a defense, right? Guide them far enough down the wrong path, envelop them in smoke, and by the time they realize your true intentions, it will be merely too late. This one is also a great one in my opinion. Law 4. Always say less than necessary. Say a little and be ambiguous, leaving the meaning to others to interpret. The less you say, the more intimidating and powerful you are. One of the most important skills if you ever want to be successful is knowing when to stop talking and when to never stop. When you're trying to impress people with words, the more you say, the more common you appear and less in control. Even if you're saying something banal, it will seem original and make the thing you're saying seem more vague, open-ended, and sphinx-like. Powerful people impress and intimidate by saying less. The more you say, the more likely you are to say something foolish, which obviously you have no control over. But disciplining yourself, you can easily control yourself. Law 5. So much depends on it. Guard your reputation with your life. Nurture and guard your reputation because reputation is integral to power. With a strong reputation, you can influence and intimidate others. Reputation is the cornerstone of power. Through reputation alone, you can intimidate and ultimately win. Once it slips, however, you are vulnerable and will be attacked on all sides. Make your reputation unassailable. Always be alert to potential threats and attacks and thwart them before they happen. Meanwhile, learn to destroy your enemies by opening holes in their own reputations. Then stand aside and let opinion hang them. It's as easy as that. Law 6. Court attention at all costs. Be outrageous or create an aura of mystery. Any attention, positive or negative, is better than being ignored. Attention brings you wealth. Everything is judged by its appearance. What is unseen counts for nothing. Never let yourself get lost in the crowd. Then, or buried in oblivion. Stand out. Be conspicuous at all cost. Make yourself a magnet of attention by appearing larger, more colorful, more mysterious than the bland, timid masses. But you shouldn't do this in a way that your main goal is to seek attention. You shouldn't be an attention seeker. And you become very open to everyone. You don't want that. You should know when you need to seek attention because it will benefit you and when it will only ruin your image in front of other, more intellectual people. Law 7. Get others to do everything for you, but always take credit for it. Get others to do your work for you. Use their skill, time, and energy to further your ambitions whilst taking full credit. You'll be admired for your efficiency. Use the wisdom, knowledge, and legwork of other people to further your own cause. Not only will such assistance save your valuable time and energy, it will give you a godlike aura of efficiency and speed. In the end, your helpers will be forgotten and you will be remembered. Never do yourself what others can do for you instead. In the end, it is vital that you do not feel any guilt, because if you do feel guilt, you will end up having emotions for that person for the rest of your life, and that will not let you live in peace. Trust me. Law 8. Make people come to you. Again, be a magnet. Use bait if necessary, but make your opponent come to you. When you force others to act, you're in control. Bait them, then attack. When you force the other person to act, you are the one in control. It is always better to make your opponent come to you, abandoning his or her own plans in the process. Lure him or her in with fabulous gains, then attack. You hold the cards, it is you in control, and I promise this technique indeed works and is one of the best you can possibly attack your opponent with. 100% chances of winning, unless of course your opponent is smart and has read this book too. Law 9. Win through your actions, not arguments. Demonstrate your point rather than arguing. Arguing rarely changes anyone's minds, but people believe what they see. They're also less likely to be offended. Any momentary triumph you think you have gained through argument is a Pyrrhic victory. The resentment and ill will you stir up is stronger and lasts longer than any momentary change of opinion. It is much more powerful to get others to agree with you through your actions without saying a word, and demonstrate. Do not explicate. You should also know the difference of that. Law 10. Infection. Avoid the unlucky plus the unhappy. Avoid miserable people at all costs. The perpetually miserable spread misery, like an infection, and they'll drown you in it. This is not just one of those superstitions. Indeed, this may sound like one. However, not everything is just words. We should listen to our elders. Trust me, it works. You can actually, not actually, but you know what I mean, die from someone else's misery. Emotional states are as infectious as diseases. You may feel you are helping out the drowning man, precipitating your own disaster. The unfortunate sometimes draw misfortune on themselves, but they will also draw on you. Associate with the happy and fortunate instead. Now you may say, but Hanor, this is the exact opposite of humanity. Actually, now if we're talking about humanity, we will only get to help others if we are living. If we're dying, it is foolish to expect us to help someone else. Obviously, we help ourselves. Again, you come first, not others. Law 11. Learn to keep people dependent on you. Make your superior dependent on you. The more she or he needs you, the more security and freedom you have to pursue your goals. To maintain your independence, you must always be needed and wanted. The more you are relied on, the more freedom you have. Make people depend on you for their happiness, because who doesn't want to be happy and prosperity and have nothing to fear? Never teach them enough so that they can do it without you. It is incredibly important for this to be applied, because if people are dependent on you, you will have power of that person in every possible way, which is your main goal. Law 12. Use selective honesty and generosity to disarm your victim. Use honesty and generosity to disarm and distract you others from your schemes. Even the most suspicious people act to respond to acts of kindness, leaving them vulnerable to manipulation. One sincere and honest move will cover up dozens of dishonest ones. Open-hearted gestures of honesty and generosity bring down the guard of even the most suspicious people. Once your selective honesty opens a hole in your opponent's armor, you can deceive and manipulate them at will. A timely gift, a Trojan horse, will serve the same purpose. Make sure you check out the story of the Trojan horse. It is a great story and will actually describe this law far more than anything ever can. Law 13. When asking for help, appeal to people's self-interest, never to their mercy or gratitude. When you need help from someone in a position of power, appeal to their self-interest. They'll be glad to help if they'll get something in return, and you'll get what you want without seeming desperate or irritating. If you turn to an ally for help, do not bother remind him or her of your past assistance and good deeds. He will find a way to ignore you instead. Uncover something in your request or in your alliance with him that will benefit him and emphasize it out of all proportion. He will respond enthusiastically when he sees something to be gained for himself. It's only common sense. Law 14. Pose as a friend, work as a spy. Be friendly, sympathetic, and interested to get people to reveal their deepest thoughts and feelings. Some might say secrets. When you know your opponent's secrets, you can predict his behavior and control him. Knowing about your rival is critical. Use spies to gather valuable information that will keep you a step ahead of them. Better still, play the spy yourself. In polite social encounters, learn to probe. Ask indirect questions to get people to reveal their weaknesses and intentions. There is no occasion that is not an opportunity for artful spying. Law 15. Crush your opponent. Totally. Crush your enemy completely, or opponent. If you leave even one ember smoldering, it will eventually ignite. You can't afford to be lenient. All great leaders since Moses have known that a feared enemy must be crushed completely. Sometimes they have learned this the hard way. Not you, though. If one ember is left alight, no matter how dimly it smolders, a fire will eventually break out. More is lost through stopping halfway than through total annihilation. The enemy will recover and will seek revenge. Crush him, not only in the body, but in the spirit and soul. Law 16. Use absence to create respect and honor, or in this case, increase it. Once you've become well known, don't wear out your welcome. The more you're seen and heard from, the more you cheapen your brand. Too much circulation makes the prize go down. The more you are seen and heard from, the more common you appear. If you are already established in a group, temporary withdrawal from it will make you more talked about, even more admired. You must learn to leave. Create value through scarcity. This is very important. Again, it is decisive to be able to distinguish yourself from others and know your self-worth. Even though this might seem easy, it will take you by surprise, but never give up. Law 17. Keep others in suspended terror. Cultivate an air of unpredictability. Throw others off balance and unnerve them with random, unpredictable acts. You'll gain the upper hand. Humans are naturally creatures of habit with an insatiable need to see familiarity in other people's actions. Your predictability gives them a sense of control. Turn the tables. Be deliberately unpredictable. Behavior that seems to have no consistency or purpose that will keep them off balance, and they will wear themselves out trying to explain your moves. Taken to an extreme, this strategy can intimidate and terrorize. Law 18. Do not build a fortress to protect yourself. Isolation is not the key. Never isolate yourself when under pressure. This cuts you off from information you need, valuable information. And when real danger arises, you will not see it coming. The world is dangerous and enemies are everywhere. Everyone has to protect themselves. A fortress seems the safest, but isolation exposes you to more dangers than it protects you from. It cuts you from valuable information. It makes you conspicuous and an easy target. Better to circulate among people, find allies, and mingle, obviously. You are shielded from your enemies by the crowd. Sometimes, only sometimes, this strategy may work. Know who you're dealing with. Don't offend the wrong person. When attempting to deceive someone, know who you're dealing with, so you don't waste your time or stir up a hornet's nest in reaction. There are so many different kinds of people in the world, and you can never assume that everyone will react to your strategies in the same way. Deceive or outmaneuver some people, and they will spend the rest of their lives seeking revenge. They are only wolves in lamb's clothing. Choose your victims and opponents carefully. Then never offend or deceive the wrong person. This is just a bit more information on that. I will read it for you guys. Opponents and victims. Preliminary typology. In your rise to power, you will come across many breeds of opponents and victims. The highest form of the art of power is the ability to distinguish the wolves from the lambs, the foxes from the hares, and hawks from the vultures. If you make this distinction well, you will succeed without needing to coerce anyone too much. But if you deal blindly with whomever crosses your path, you will have a life of constant sorrow, if you even live that long. Being able to recognize types of people and to act accordingly is critical. The following are the 5 most dangerous and difficult types of mark in the jungle, as identified by artists, con and otherwise, of the past. When you meet a swordsman, draw your sword. Do not recite poetry to one who is not a poet. From a Chi'an Buddhist classic, quoted in Thunder in the Sky, translated by Thomas Cleary, 1993. The arrogant and proud man. Although he may initially disguise it, this man's touchy pride makes him very dangerous. Any perceived slight will lead to a vengeance of overwhelming violence. You may say to yourself, but I only said such and such at a party where everyone was drunk. It does not matter. There is no sanity behind his overreaction, so do not waste time trying to figure him out. If at any point in your dealings with a person you sense an oversensitive and overactive pride, flee. Whatever you are hoping for from him isn't worth it. Law 20. Do not commit to anyone. Don't commit to any side or cause except for yourself. By maintaining your independence, you remain in control. Others will vie for your attention. You also have the ability to pit the sides against each other. It is always the fool who rushes to take sides, remember. Do not commit to any side or cause but yourself. By maintaining your independence, you become the master of others, playing people against one another, making them pursue you. Again, easy as that. 21. Play a sucker to catch a sucker. Make your intended victims feel as though they're smarter than you are, and they won't suspect you of having ulterior motives. No one likes feeling stupider than the next person. The trick, then, is to make your victims feel smarter, and not only just smart, but smarter than you are. More convinced of this, they will never suspect that you may have ulterior motives. It will also make them question their whole existence. Law 22. When you're weaker, surrender rather than fighting for the sake of honor. This gives you time to build strength and undermine your victor. You'll win in the end. When you are weaker, never fight for honor's sake. Choose surrender instead. Surrender gives you time to recover, time to torment and irritate your conqueror of fighting and defending you. Surrender first. By turning the other cheek, you infuriate and unsettle him or her. Make surrender a tool of power. It is a vital skill that if you do not know, you are doomed. Law 23. Concentrate your forces. Focus your resources and energies where you will have the most impact or get the most benefit. Otherwise, you'll waste limited time and energy. Conserve your forces and energies by keeping them concentrated at their strongest point. You gain more by finding a rich mine and mining it deeper than by flitting from one shallow mine to another. Intensity defeats extensity every time. When looking for sources of power to elevate you, find the one key patron In this case, he uses an example. The fat cow who will give you milk for a long time to come is an example he gives in the book to further explain his main point, or in this case, his key patron. This was our last